I eat that already? Man, I'm still hungry. Okay, recently I did a video cutting an emerald shape into a calibrated size, a 6x8, and I'm going to cut another calibrated emerald, this into a calibrated size of 5x7. So I've trimmed off a piece from my big piece of emerald rough that I picked up in Tucson this year, and I'm still working with the UV light activated super glue. That seems to be working okay, at least with the first stones I've tried, which have all been small. So I'll continue to work with that. And this is my large piece of emerald, lab created emerald, that I picked up in Tucson this year. This color is called Columbian color. There's another one that all the labs that I've talked to have. The other color is called the Zambian emerald color, which is a little darker, but they're both beautiful. This piece of rough has a few fractures that I have to work around, but in general it's clean. And so that's where this piece came from. And so I'll put it on the dop and start cutting our small calibrated emerald. Okay, I'm continuing to experiment with this Helios UV light activated super glue, and it's working out so far okay, but I've only been using it on small stones, so it's not a complete test, but I've used it on a couple of stones now and it's working. So it gives me more time to set the glue, because it doesn't set until we turn the UV light on it. So first I get it where I want it on the stone, and then I turn the UV light on. Now I will say that the light has given me a little bit of trouble. That kit comes with the box. I had to fiddle with the batteries a little bit to get it to work a couple times. But it just takes a few seconds, and the UV light causes the super glue to set. I have not yet had any stone pop off the dop, but again, I'm using small stones that may or may not affect it when I go to bigger stones. So it's already set, and I can begin working with this stone instead of waiting overnight for the super glue to set. So I'll continue to work with this product, but so far so good. There are many companies producing mountings and findings, and this is one that's just an example that I'm using to explain about calibrated sizes. Doesn't really matter which company this is. So I'm going to select settings and scroll over the various gemstone shapes so you can see all the shapes of stones they make mountings for in what are called calibrated sizes. Now I will select the emerald shape because that's what I'll be cutting today. This company shows the settings that they manufacture, where you can select certain features, the type of gold, type of metal, colors, things like that, including the calibrated size of the gemstone you plan to use or put into the setting. This emerald, for example, 4-prong setting, looks pretty interesting with the small diamonds already mounted in the setting for you. And it's a deal, which I guess means it's on sale. Now I select the drop down for the various calibrated sizes that this piece comes in. For this setting, you can choose from a setting which will hold either a 5x3mm, 6x4mm, 7x5, or an 8x6mm calibrated gemstone. Now don't worry about the weight. Different gemstones weigh different amounts, and these weights are for a diamond center stone. So you could order this beautiful setting with accent diamonds already mounted, all ready for you to put in our case, a 5x7 emerald. That's what I mean by calibrated sizes. If you cut a non-calibrated size gemstone, you'll have to make your own mounting. And generally, you'd want to make your own mounting for large gemstones, but for smaller stones, it's often a better option, less expensive for your customer, to go with a mounting that's already created. Now for my wife, BOPIE, she does create her own mountings, and she has the CAD software to do so. And before she had the jewelry design software, she started out with carving settings out of wax. So she's got the skill to do the mountings. However, for a lot of our smaller gemstones, it's just much cheaper to go with the option of buying a mounting from a company that makes them for a gemstone of calibrated size. It really boils down to what the customer wants. The gem fastening diagram I will use to cut our 7x5mm calibrated emerald is the Golden Steps design by Greg Glenn. This design, Golden Steps, is available for any cutter to use, and you can get it from the U.S. Fasteners Guild website, and here is the design. As I showed you in a previous video, the secret of the step cut. For a step cut design, regardless of what the design information states, you can cut the length and width to any length and width you want. And here's a link to that video if you want to learn more. This design is suitable for gem cutters of all skill levels, even a brand new cutter. So give it a try and let me know in the comments what you think of it. Okay, I've preformed our emerald so that it's just a little bit wider than 5mm and just a little bit longer than 7mm, so that I can end up with a calibrated 5x7 emerald cut. And I have put the stone in my Ultratech with the lengthwise horizontal to the 96 index tooth. So you set your stone to cut at the 96 tooth, and that'll horizontally that'll make sure you're working on these facets on the girdle. So I'll work on this stone with my 600 grit lap, because it's already just right about the right length and width. So I'll get the girdle set to just beyond 5mm and just beyond 7mm with my 600 grit lap. Then I'll move to my 12M, about a 1500 grit lap, get it real close to 5x7, and then move to my 14,000 grit diamond on a bat lap. For this emerald, this lab-created emerald, I'm not quite able to go from my 12M straight to polish. It takes way too long to polish that way. So by going to the 14,000 grit diamond on a bat lap, that gives me an excellent pre-polish, and then I can go straight to polish. Okay, I went over our 5x7 emerald with my 12M, about a 1500 grit lap, and now I'm going to go over it with my 13,000 grit diamond using bat lap. And again, with when I cut any of the emerald rectangular shaped designs that have cut corners, I like to cut the corners last after I've polished everything up. That way I make sure that each row is lined up and just touching the sides with this side before I cut in the cut corners. So it's coming along nicely, and I will continue to put a final pre-polish on it with our 13,000 grit diamond on bat lap, and then we'll be ready to polish. Okay, I've zoomed in on our emerald, so I've started cutting the corner, and the way I do it is I work first off with the P6 line of instruction, the 44-degree angle, and I'll start cutting that all the way up to this line right there. So it's almost there. I'll cut a little below that, and then I'll polish it in. Then I will go to the P3 line of instruction and cut again at the 46-degree angle up to about that line. And then I'll cut the girdle so that it lines up with what becomes this line down here, where the edges of the facets from the P3 line of instruction. And I think it works better for me to cut the corners last, but if you guys don't, if somebody does it a different way, just let me know in the comments. Thanks. I finished polishing the corners, and so our pavilion of our emerald is complete. I used creamway lap and cerium oxide. So now I'll transfer the stones so we can cut the upper half of this 7x5 emerald. So I haven't showed you how to align your stone after you do the transfer in a while. So what I do is I put a calibrated block, this comes from Ultratech, onto my flattest lap, in this case my ceramic lap, and then you put your index at 96, put your stone in lengthwise, and lining up the 96 girdle, 96 index with the girdle, and you lower the mast until it just touches. You can see it breaking the plane there, and you want it to touch the calibrated block all along that 96 girdle at the same time. If it's a little bit off one way or the other, you're out of alignment and your facets won't line up. Your table will be off from your pavilion, your crown will be off from the pavilion. So that's how you align it. Again, you set the index to cut the 96, and that's where your 96 girdle, the lengthwise is the 96 and the 48. I finished polishing the crown of our 5x7 golden steps design. So I still have the table to go, so I will set the stone up to cut and polish the table, and it polished right up with my creamway lap with cerium oxide. Finished polishing the table of our 5x7 golden steps, and so now I will soak it in the acetone and weigh it and measure it and send it off to BOPIE, and we already know what it measures. It's 5x7. Okay, a while back I switched to plastic pill bottles to put my acetone in. For some reason, whatever this is made of, acetone doesn't eat it. It eats most plastic, but it won't eat that. Anyway, for this UV activated super glue that I've been using by Helios, I believe the name is Sure Hold, although the package says Light Cure. The acetone seems to eat it very quickly and get it off the dop in just a matter of a couple hours, whereas it seems a lot of times with my Loctite 404 super glue, I was having to soak it in acetone overnight. So it's happened every time I put it in here, it comes off the dop very quickly, which is an added benefit. In this video, we talked a bit more about calibrated sizes and when and why you, as a gem cutter, may want to cut a gemstone to a calibrated size. I also continued testing out my ultraviolet light activated super glue. I have found sites online that do sell the glue without the UV light, and that does knock a few dollars off the cost. I also continue to find that my acetone eats through this super glue faster than my other super glues, so the stone is released from the dop and ready to go hours sooner than with other super glues that I've used. And I can report that I have had no issues with this glue holding the stone to the dop so far, and I've tested it on about a half a dozen stones. So let me know in the comments what you think of this gemstone, and as always, happy fastening, everyone.